Hi, Belinda. Thanks for taking time to meet with me today to discuss one of my clients, Sam. Firstly, I thought I would like to give you just a bit of background on Sam and some of his presenting issues. So Sam presented with potential cognitive difficulties and social anxiety. The focus of the conversation today is, though, is about his social anxiety. Sam is a 26-year-old male. He lives at home with his mum. He's unemployed and he doesn't seem to be in a relationship. Sam is, in regards to history, Sam acknowledged that at the age of 12 he started feeling anxiety. That was around the time that his sister had a bout of anorexia. Sam doesn't talk much with his father. Sam said that he doesn't share his feelings of anxiety with his family because of disturbances in his family. Sam presently has a good friendship group, but he fears that he has nothing to say with the group and that it will be judged because of he hasn't hit age-appropriate milestones like having a job or relationship, etc. Consequently, Sam is concealing his true identity in conversations with his friends. He doesn't express his true opinions in conversations, but goes quiet. Sam's work history has been problematic. He said that when he has had work, he's hated going to meetings where he's had to talk publicly or make decisions. He struggles with following instructions. He struggles completing tasks, even though he feels pressure to complete tasks. So he had elevated anxiety when he was working. Consequently, it appears that some of Sam's symptoms are consistent with social anxiety disorder. What I'd also like to do is share with you some of my ideas about Sam's next treatment session, which will be his first treatment session after his intake in the assessment battery. The short-term goal for the next session is to start to lay the groundwork for reducing some of Sam's social anxiety disorder symptoms. We want to shift Sam's focus from his internal processes to his failure to recognise external cues and his safety behaviours. Essentially, in situations like where Sam doesn't share his opinion with people, which is his safety behaviour, protecting hopefully from anxiety, it's actually reinforcing his anxiety because he's not receiving the cues from his friends where they might actually value his opinion. They might actually like to hear from him as an individual. The therapeutic modality, so I want to focus on that to start off with. The therapeutic modality which we'll use is Clerkenwell's 1995 model of cognitive model of social phobia. The core of that is that social anxiety is basically a mix of a strong desire to get social approval, while also a great lack of confidence or about a person's ability, about an individual's ability to get that favourable impression. The long-term goal, therefore, is to actually increase a person's confidence in their ability to make a favourable impression in social situations by challenging their distorted self-view and anticipation of negative outcomes. The short-term goal I mentioned is consistent with that long-term goal. In Wells' 1997 manual, he suggested the initial sessions of treatment should be focused on alleviating symptoms of social phobia. That's for a number of reasons. Firstly, the people are unfamiliar with the cognitive model, so they need to get familiar with that before they can, and they might find it difficult to do that. So we focus on some symptoms initially to just start to educate them about the model. We need to focus on it. We don't want to focus on underlying causes too early because that actually triggers all their protective sort of behaviours. So we focus on some external sort of symptom relief initially just to start them down the process of dealing with the disorder. And also for clients, it may be difficult to get into some of the exposure treatments which could deal with some of the underlying issues when they still don't have any skills in actually getting some symptom reduction. So the initial sessions are focused on symptom reduction. A couple of those activities can be just case formulation and and socialisation of the model. After there's been some symptom relief, then we can start to focus on the underlying issues. The next thing I'd like to talk about is why I chose that model, why I chose the cognitive behavioural model. And there were two key reasons for why I chose that model. First of all, the evidence in support of the cognitive model of social phobia is actually very strong. In 2018, the Australian Psychological Society, in their review of the evidence for psychological treatments, gave level one evidence, identified level one evidence to support the cognitive model or individual cognitive behaviour. And one of the studies they cited, Mayo Wilson from 2014, gave it said it was the most efficacious treatment of all in terms of treating social phobia. In 2024, the updated evidence base from evidence review from the Australian Psychological Society again gave level one, identified level one evidence for cognitive behavioural therapy to treat social anxiety disorder. In 2025, I found a study by Sun et al., which basically went back to the Mayo Wilson one and again said that the most efficacious treatment for social anxiety disorder was the cognitive model of social phobia by Clark and Wells. Secondly, the reason why I chose the cognitive model was that I think it's the most appropriate one to Sam's symptoms. So Sam is he talks about his anxious thinking, he talks about overthinking. He's very concerned with his thinking processes, and a key feature of the cognitive model is the focus on the processing of self. So the model recognises a person's shift to focusing on internal cues rather than actual responses, which, as I said earlier, in terms of Sam not wanting to hear people's responses to his true thoughts, is hiding from those external cues. And what it actively works to do is to refocus the client on their evidence that can challenge those distorted views. So I thought it was the most appropriate model to Sam's situation. 3 potential issues which I've identified, which I believe could influence Sam's treatment. Sam is a reserved person, doesn't like to share his thoughts and feelings with people. I too can be a reserved person, and so I empathise with him in that. But what it means is that I'm going to have to take particular care to encourage Sam to actually share his thoughts, to share his feelings, and to get comfortable in that. So that'll be one process issue which I'll have to manage. Another is that Sam finds it difficult to concentrate and to complete tasks. The key feature of the cognitive behavioural therapy for SAD is that a person needs to do their homework. They need to take the lessons from the session, and they need to go away and they need to think and do homework. So I'm going to have to really emphasise to Sam the need to complete the homework. Sam also has shared that he finds it difficult to follow lengthy instructions that may indicate cognitive difficulties. It's really important that Sam gets an understanding of the cognitive model and how it works so that he can actually employ that to start to manage and deal with his anxiety. I'm going to have to take time to actually make sure that he does actually understand the cognitive model and how it works and how it could apply to his situation. So that's 3 process issues which I've identified. Finally, in terms of the activities which I see in the first session, the primary session activities are going to be about case formulation and socialisation of the model. Case formulation will be working with Sam to identify some of the precipitants, some of the causes, the triggers for his anxiety, social anxiety. Socialisation of the model will be educating Sam about the model, introducing it to him, and showing him how the parts of it work together and how it may be reflected in his life experience. The aim of doing those things, as I've said earlier, is to get an early reduction in Sam's symptoms, so that to hopefully lay the groundwork for dealing with more fundamental issues later. The steps I'll take will be briefly reviewing Sam's assessment battery responses, setting an agenda for the meeting, developing a problem list and beginning goal setting, starting to develop a case formulation with Sam based on the cognitive model, starting to socialise Sam to the cognitive model of social anxiety, checking Sam's therapy expectations and trying to work with him to be realistic about what can actually be achieved and hopefully increase his expectations. setting Sam's homework, and then summarising the session and inviting feedback from Sam. Wells suggested that would take a 45 to 60 minute session. Any thoughts you have would be greatly appreciated.